Well, there's a weird little shot of me adjusting my shades. Hello and welcome everybody to our first day of Chem 400. I almost said Chem 305. It's gonna take me a hot second to adjust. I was teaching Chem 305 over the summer. As some of you know, at least one of you, dang, we have had. Oh, dude. Okay, actually, a couple of you. Actually, I see a couple familiar names from the summer. So hello and welcome to Chem 400. There's a couple things. So this is our first for everyone here at FLC. This is our first semester where we are launching everything 100% online. We have, as I'm sure you all know, mid-semester last spring, everything went online due to the pandemic, and so as of right now, that is the way all education is going. So yeah. Summer was our first full session online, but summer session is weird, as at least two of you know, probably more, but I see two familiar faces from my section over the summer, and so this is our first semester. We've learned a lot over the summer, and so we're implementing that, obviously iterating, improving, trying to do as best we can. Now, there's a couple things. So today's our first lecture. We are going to go over the syllabus and some course policies, and maybe crack into some what's the word? Maybe some science. We'll talk about. Who knows? Summer, I thought I was gonna just take like 20 minutes to talk about the syllabus, and there were so many questions that ended up taking the whole time. So anyways, we'll dive right in. I guess by way of introduction, my name is Josh. You can call me by, yeah, I know, I can't wait to get to science time. You can call me by my first name. If you're uncomfortable with that, you can try to call me by my last name, which is very Polish. Tolopilo. I'm down with, you can call me Professor Tolopilo, you can call me Josh, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now, so we're gonna dive in, but there's a couple atypical things going down this semester. Actually, as of right now, hey, rock on, Emma. We have something in common. So as of right now, there are two Chem 400 sections. Heck yeah. And right now I'm teaching both of them. One is my own, and the other I'm sort of foster adopting. Professor Max Mahoney was slated to teach the other one. He's currently on paternity leave, so I'm teaching both for the first 8 weeks of classes. After that, then if you are in here, hang on, meant to have Canvas all locked and loaded. So we've got two sections, and I'm going to give you the section numbers so you'll know whom you belong to, or belong with, I guess. You don't belong to anybody, save yourselves. So, where are we? Fall. So if you are in, if you are in lecture section 16, wait, no, that's my lab. There we go, 16005. This is me. If you are in lecture section 15 something something something, I know that's super helpful. Here we go, 1587. Oh no, it's 15857. This is Max's section. All right. Now, for the first 8 weeks, it's not going to matter. You're all going to be here, and everything's going to be the same. For those of you who are in Max's lecture section, he and I both adopted the same syllabus. We were collaborating on this. Same SIL. We collaborated on this before the semester started. And so after he takes over the class, you'll follow the same lecture pace. You'll have the same number of tests. Like nothing will change except instead of my face, it'll be his face. And I don't know if he does YouTube. He may be using Zoom. I've gone with YouTube for a variety of reasons, but anyway, so that might change. We'll have more information on that, making that transition as smooth for you as possible. But same lecture schedule, same number of tests, same course structure, everything. It's just the face that communicates with you will change from mine to his. So that's one thing to be aware of. Now, I'm totally... And so here's the thing. Like, my stuff is on YouTube, right? So you're more than welcome to keep watching my lectures. You can reference them. I'm totally down for whatever. But I just wanted to let everyone know that half of you belong in lecture section 16005. The other half is 15857. One is Max's and one is mine. Okay, so that's the first thing of business. Also, because I am juggling all the Chem 400 sections right now, I appreciate your patience as I handle everyone. Emails have been a little bit of a backlog. I will get to everybody, and so on. Okay. So let's talk about some course policies. So the first thing that I want to advocate for is for you to read the syllabus. All right, I am not going to cover the entire syllabus today. I'm only going to cover a chunk of it, and so as a result, there are things in the syllabus that we don't go over today. However, the complete course policy is in the syllabus. You should take the time to review it. If you are waitlisted, I believe I emailed everyone currently on the wait list. If you're trying to crash the class, send me an email. I'll get a copy of the syllabus to you. All right. Now, the another reason why you want to read the syllabus, why I advocate for reading the syllabus, is because there's this thing called the Syllabus Quiz. Now, this is an online course. It is a asynchronous course, which means you do not have to attend lecture live. You can also watch later. Totally fine with whatever works best for your study habits. But you want to read the syllabus because I don't take attendance, but I do have this course policy regarding the syllabus quiz. At the end of the syllabus, there's a little questionnaire. It's not hard. And it even tells you what sections to look at to answer each question. The syllabus quiz is due by Wednesday, due on 8/26. All assignments in this course are due at 11:59 p.m. so a minute before midnight. The syllabus quiz is due by this Wednesday, so you need to read the syllabus, complete the syllabus quiz, fill it out, submit it to Canvas. If you're waitlisted, you email it to me. If you are not waitlisted, you need to submit it to Canvas. And the reason why this is so critical is because if you do not, or I should say, if you do not and or are late, you will be dropped. All right, so you have a little bit less, or actually more, a little bit more than 48 hours to get this thing filled in, submitted to Canvas. And the reason I do this is because I have a huge wait list, 2 huge wait lists actually for both lectures. And there are a lot of students who are actively trying to get into this class. And so I'm looking to see who is actively taking, who's actively participating in the course, who's engaging with the material, and who's maybe just like, maybe they signed up, but they're not really paying attention or into it. Those spots should be given to the waitlisted students who are actively trying to add the course. So if you want to stay enrolled, you got to get this in there by Wednesday, 11:59. I currently have like 18 emails I counted this morning in my inbox of waitlisted students who have completed the syllabus quiz and submitted it to me, who are trying to add. So if you want to stay enrolled, you have to do this. There's no grace. If you're late, you've lost your spot. So please, if you want to remain in, don't be late. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of questions in the comments on the lab safety. Okay, so here is, this is actually a decent segue, because there's a lab safety thing that you've got to do, and I'll talk more about this in during my lab class tonight. So something you should know about the labs. As we've already said, yep, it's in the, yep, totally. So there are 4 of them. There's 4 lab sections. Whoops. 2 attached to each lecture. All right. So we're gonna say these are my labs, then these are Max's labs. I should probably say me. Because I know like there's a lot of questions about labs, and so we've got 2 lecture sections, 2 labs each. For my lab, my lecture section, so the 1600 one, I'm teaching one of them, and Dr. Gillies is teaching the other. If you're in Max's section, your lab instructor is either Dr. Gillies or Dr. Cheng. All right. So when it comes to answering lab questions, I will be able to directly answer lab questions for my section. But you will have to look at Canvas to look at the lab Canvas page and see who the instructor is, so you know who to email about lab questions. We're all coordinating on the lab syllabus, lab schedule. We're all collaborating on writing up experiments and quizzes, etc. But the human who will have direct control of your lab schedule, we're all more or less following the same thing. However, one of us may choose to give an extension or one of us may not. So there will be subtle differences in the schedule. And that human is the human who's the instructor on your lab Canvas page. So of everybody watching, I can only answer questions about lab for 25% of you because I only have direct control of one of these four lab sections. Now I see there's a bunch of questions about lab safety and lab waivers. Speaking to my lab section, it is I have not yet created the assignment or posted the links for that, so that'll be coming out in the next couple of days. It looks like, judging by some of the comments, some of you have an instructor who has made those links available, which is awesome. My prime focus has been getting lecture launch, so I've got a little bit of catch up to do on the lab side of things. But all that to say is, and yeah, I see kind of a general consensus. If it's missing, it will be coming available in the near future. But I recommend emailing or messaging on Canvas your lab instructor for specific questions about your lab section. All right. That being said, okay, awesome. So Logan, you're in Dr. Ching's section. So let's actually, we're gonna do this a little bit out of order. I do have one other thing I want to mention about lab, and that is my lab section. All right, and this may seem a little weird, because you're like, you just said that your lab section only applies to 25% of the person, or 25% of the sections. Why am I spending some time talking about mine? Sorry, I'm gonna ask myself to hold that thought. Let's see. Okay, Karen, that is a good question. Oops. Let's see. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Kate, I believe Peyton has that locked down, that it's the lab waiver is due on the 2nd of September, at least in my lab syllabus. But there may be small variations depending upon who you have for lecture. So, taking a minute to talk about my lab section. I am going to be holding my lab section here on YouTube. You all found it. Every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. To 10 p.m. And the reason why, the reason why I'm letting you all know is the way I'm going to format my online lab. So the thing about the e-labs, and I'll be talking about this a little bit more in my section, and I'm sure each of your instructors will reach out and contact you and let you know about the format in their own courses. But all of the electronic labs are pretty much like self-study machines. You know, they're like, watch these videos, do these exercises, do this electronic lab, fill out this worksheet. It's all stuff that you do more or less on your own. So how I am choosing to spend my lab section period is I'm going to be holding it just as open office hours, or open hours. Let's maybe throw an office in there. So I'm just going to be taking questions live. I'm going to be here. You can ask your questions in the comment section. And these can be questions about anything. Questions about lab, specific lab experiments, lecture, questions that you might have. Today, I'm going to kick off my lab lection by doing a totally. Oh, lame. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a mini lecture just at the start, not for the whole 3 hours, but I'm going to be doing an intro refresher to kind of sig figs, and then eventually moving to unit conversions. So sometimes there will be like little mini lectures and then just free range. So this is for all of you to utilize. I'm doing it twice a week, 7 to 10. So it's 6 hours a week. It's more than enough time to get questions answered. In addition, if this doesn't work for you, I tried to pick a time that would be like after kids' bedtime. I'm a dad, so that has a profound meaning for me. If you're just if you're not a parent, all time is the same. But so 7 to 10, I try to pick flexible a time that people could participate if they want, but I realize some of you may be working jobs during that section or during that time. And again, if you have a question and want to get it answered, but you can't attend live, you still can ask me. You can submit your question via email. So all you have to do to make sure I get it is I totally welcome and will answer questions submitted over email. Just be sure to do one of two things. First, make sure the subject is Chem 400 office hours. As you can imagine, during this online teaching season, my email just becomes just a backlog. And so it's very easy to miss emails. However, as I'm prepping for class, I search Chem 400 office hours, or let's put the plural of that in there. I search Chem 400 office hours in Outlook so that I won't miss any questions submitted by email. The second thing that you want to do is if you have a question about a specific problem, maybe it's a problem from the book, the lab notebook, or one you found online, please attach a picture of the original problem. Often when a student is trying to explain over email what they don't get or what the problem is, it can be confusing or difficult to interpret on my end. However, if you include a picture of the original problem, then I can see it. You can be like, here's my problem with this. I don't know how to do X, Y, or Z, but I can see the original problem and understand the context it came from. It'll help me provide more clear answers. Okay. Let's see. Karen. Not yet enrolled. Okay, the search produces no results. Karen, let me just take a quick look, because I have a copy of all of the waitlisted rosters. Okay. Karen, here, here, I'll type it. Let's see. Karen, if you send me an email reminder, I can send you her email directly. I was about to type it in the comment section, but then I'm like, she may not appreciate that, it being spammed to YouTube. So shoot me an email reminder, and I will get you her direct email so that you know you're contacting the right one. Let's see. Yep, Madison, that is another totally solid solid strategy. Yeah, totally. Okay. So, so my lab section is not just for my lab section, right? Because our labs are all sort of independent study. So this is just going to be a free-for-all for everybody. And again, if you're not enrolled in my lab section, you totally come hang out, ask questions. Even after we have the great Tolopilo-Mahoney split, where I'll hand off control to the second section to Max, you can still come and hang out. This is open for everyone. I just want it to be a resource that is useful, profitable for everybody. So I'll be hanging out twice a week, 7 to 10, here on YouTube. Okay. Speaking of prereqs, okay, so let's talk about prerequisites for a hot second. So everybody, if you are here, it means two things. You passed an algebra class, and you have some sort of chemistry exposure in your background. That could be your chemistry exposure could be as recent as maybe we were hanging out all summer long, doing Chem 305. It could be as far back as high school chemistry for you, which, if you're like me, how long ago was high school? I graduated from high school 16 years ago. So high school chemistry was a while. Now, here's the thing. This is a chemistry class. You're here to learn chemistry. That being said, there is like a bare bones threshold of what you need to know. And my assumption is you can do this already without help. These are the things that I am assuming that you know how to do, and so I will not spend time in lecture covering how to do these things. First and foremost, I am assuming that you know how to handle significant figures. All right, I'm assuming you know what they are, how to use them in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, all that good stuff. Whoa, let's erase that. There we go. I am also assuming that you understand and can execute any number of different unit conversions. All right, and then finally, I'm assuming that everybody in this course right now is confident and proficient in algebra. All right, now these these are like the bare bones of heading into this course. What you should remember from your prerequisite courses are these. And because this is what you should know, you have your first exam this Friday. Or I should say it opens this Friday. Let me pull up the specific. Here we go. So the pre-req exam opens Friday, which is 8/28, and it closes 9:02. So it'll be open in that range. Yes, it is definitely an oof. One thing you should know: every assignment in this class opens at 12 a.m. Every assignment in this class closes at 11:59. I don't play around with these at all, so they all close a minute before midnight. They all open right at midnight, and you can take it anytime during that space. I should note that so for example, the exams are all timed, right? So you'll have a certain, once you start it, you have a limited amount of time to finish it. I don't know how long the pre-req exam is. I need to time it and take it myself. I'll talk a little bit about my test writing process so you can kind of gauge that. But if the exam was 45 minutes, I just made that number up. I'm not saying it is. But if it was 45 minutes, if you start the exam at 11:58, you're not going to have 45 minutes to finish it. You're going to have 1 minute to finish it. All right? So don't think that starting it right before it closes means that you get the full time. You want to make sure that you start at least the full time before the closing hour, minute. That way you don't get kind of ripped off time-wise, all right? So be sure to start it with plenty of time to take it. Yes, Rachel, the exams will be timed. Now, I don't know how long the pre-req exam, how long I'm giving for the pre-req exam yet, because I have to sit down and take the exam myself. So, Christina, I see your question. I'll get to it in just 1 second. So here's how I determine how much time to give a test. I sit down, and I do the entire thing. All right. I work every problem. I write out every algebraic step. I physically punch it into my calculator. I take the whole test, and I time myself. And if for example, the exam is 80 minutes, I should be able to take the exam. It should take me between 20 and 30 minutes to do the exam. All right. And I'm not flexing here. I'm not saying like, oh, if you had 80 minutes to take a test, I can get it done in 20 and 30. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing by taking the exam and timing myself is I'm measuring how much time does it physically take to write out and do every step. Because I find that an exam is challenging if I basically take that amount of time that it takes me and double it. Sometimes I add a little more. So half of the time it takes to physically, mechanically finish the exam. That means as students, you'll have the other half of the time to think through the problems, to understand what's going on, and to problem solve as you go. I've written the pre-req exam. I have not sitting down. I don't think that's a word. I haven't sat down and taken it yet. So I'm going to do that, determine how much time I'm going to allow, and then I'll post an announcement to Canvas so you'll know more details about the pre-req exam. Christina, that is a great question. For those of you who are listening, who are waitlisted right now, your ability to add the class depends upon if space opens up, right? And so if you're able to add the class, let's say you can add the first 2 weeks of class. Let's say you're not able to add till next week after the pre-req exam already closes. I'll open up the portal again specifically for you. So if you're waitlisted, do not stress about, what if I can't take the test and get a 0 on it? You'll have the same window to take the test as everybody else. So this is what? Friday to Wednesday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Six days. You'll have a 6-day window to take it if you add late or it closes before you make it in. So totally don't stress. Do not have a Chem prerequisite. Honestly, if you can take the William, if you can take the prerequisite exam and hang in there, and you've got it, then you should be in good shape. I would feel confident if you take the prereq exam and it's no big deal. Now I mentioned that I am not going to spend any time in lecture covering or reviewing these things, and that is true, but it's only half the truth. I'm going to review both sig figs and unit conversions in lab. All right. I think actually in the lab syllabus it says that I'm doing it on Wednesday of this week and Monday. So if you're feeling a little rusty or you're daunted or you have bad memories of these concepts, sig figs, unit conversions, tune into my lab section or watch it later, and I'm going to be doing a review of that material ahead of the prereq exam, or at least ahead of it closing, so you'll be able to kind of get some reps in and get some practice if you need it, if you're feeling shaky on these concepts. All right. Another thing that I wanted to point out about the exam is, let's see. Sorry, Jared, I'm just seeing your question. Jared, everybody takes the test. Yes, totally. I mean, well, you don't have to take it. You can take a 0 on it, but then you just scored a 0 on your first of, I think, 5 exams that are on this class. So everybody takes it, and essentially it's there to give you instant feedback to your preparedness to take this class. So this is an exam that theoretically should be easy for everyone. However, if you're rusty on sig figs, or it's been a minute since you've done unit conversions, or you're a little shaky on algebra, this will show you. So this is here as kind of an early warning system to let you know how ready you are. Everybody takes it. It's worth the same amount of points if you're totally prepared for it. It'll be easy money. If you're not, it'll still be critically important, possibly even more so, because it tells you what you need to brush up on and study. So it's the first exam of the semester. Opens this Friday. Now, something I want to let you all know about the prereq exam, and actually, I had a bunch of course policy stuff set up, and I'm doing it like all out of order. So the exam will be timed. No worries, Jared. No worries at all. So it's gonna be the class is gonna be timed. The exam is gonna be timed. And I wanted to kind of, but you'll notice, as I already said, there's like a 6-day window over which you can take it. The way I structure all of my exams in this class is I use problem banks. All right. So, because some of you might be thinking like, oh, I know, I'll have, maybe my friend will take the exam early, tell me what's on the exam, and then I'll be able to use that information to get out of studying. So what I do when I sit down to write these tests is, if, for example, let's say there's a problem on the exam where you have to do a unit conversion from some metric unit to another metric unit. I don't just write one of those problems, I write a bank of them, and then I program the exam to select one out of that bank at random. So there are a ton of different iterations, different exams. They'll all be the same in the sense that each student will solve the same types of problems. But the specific problems you solve will be different. So writing down, for example, if you had someone take it early and they're like, oh, the answer to problem 2 is A. Your problem 2 will be different than their problem 2. So that's not a reliable way to kind of get out of studying. For this pre-req exam specifically, so every exam is different because I write different problem banks every time. But so I did a calculation based on the size of problem banks, the problem banks that I have, and the odds of the current exam that I've written, creating 2 identical tests. Two identical exams. The odds here are, I wrote this down, 0.00134%. So those are the chances of 2 exams coming out to be exactly the same based on the size of the problem banks that I write. I tend to be a little excessive and write very large problem banks. So so every person's exam is going to be different. You don't want to bank on someone else's answers because yours will be won't be the same. In addition, another thing that I do, and if you had me over the summer, you're already aware of this, is before each exam, ahead of each exam, I post an announcement on Canvas where I specify the number of problems, the concepts that are on the exam, and the points percentage that each concept represents. So you will know ahead of the fact, you won't have to worry about spending all your time studying for a thing that only had 2 problems on the test, because I will post in Canvas that concept is only worth 5% of your overall exam. So it'll give you kind of a guide as to what concepts to focus on, and the concepts to focus on, and you won't have to worry about wasting your time. You can spend a majority of your time studying for the majority of the concepts, not vice versa. Okay, let's see here. We got a couple questions. So the prereq, so William, a couple things. One, the prereq exam is for the lecture section, so everybody enrolled in lecture has to take it. As to your other question, you'd have to ask Dr. Gillies specifically, because each lab instructor controls enrollment, adding and dropping within their own course. So that would be a specific question for her. Okay, let's see. So we talked about the test, pre-req exam coming up. So a couple. Let's talk about some structure things. Totally going out of order of what I had planned to say or how I had planned to say it, but but that's okay. So for your total grade, your letter grade in the course, yeah, no worries. So your letter grade in the course is weighted as such. Lecture is worth 70% of your letter grade, and your lab grade is worth 30% of your letter grade. So literally the way that your letter grade is calculated is like so. We take your lecture average and we multiply this by 0.7, and we take your lab average on all the assignments. We take this, multiply by 0.3, we add these together, and you get your letter grade. In the class overall. It's kind of inevitable. I usually get one or two emails every semester towards the end saying that I don't understand. I am getting a F in lecture, but I'm getting a B plus in lab. How am I not passing the class? How do I have a D? And the answer is to that question is always right in here. Lecture is worth more. So don't think that you can look at your lecture grade and your lab grade and it's like, oh, it's going to be an average of those two. It won't be. 70% lecture, 30% lab. All right. Time requirements. Let's talk about time. This has been one that I feel like is evolving. So the typical, when we talk about the time requirements in the class, well, let's see. Totally, Peyton. Great question. I typically see higher lab averages than lecture averages. Usually, lab is higher, lecture is lower, and so that's what I see typically. There's every semester though. There's someone who will have a higher lecture one than a lab one. So it can totally be inverted. But in general, I feel like people tend to do better or have higher averages in lab and or at least lab than lecture. As far as time requirements go, the typical rule of thumb is for every hour in class, should result in 2 to 3 hours of study. It's just kind of the generic rule of thumb that you run into. That means, and this will be a little bit of an adjustment, especially if you're coming from a class that only had one lab a week. We have 2 labs and a lecture, 2 lectures, so that's 9 hours. Oops, I did not mean to do that. There we go. So we have 9 hours of class a week, which should result in somewhere between 18 and 27 hours of study. All right, that comes out to be between, if you were going to break this down on a daily average, 2.5 to 5 hours studying a week. Oh, sorry, not a week. Per day, sorry. One thing that I've found with the online teaching experience is it usually takes more. There's more on you as a student because you have to be self-started. You don't go to lab and it's like, okay, it sucks, but I'm here. I'm stuck here for 3 hours. I've got to do my thing. Your lab happens whenever you choose to, right? And so you are the one in charge of your own study habits, which is wonderful. You can attend lecture in your PJs. It can be terrible though, because you also have to force your brain to get out of bed, even if your body hasn't, and study. So I would definitely, if you don't think you can commit this amount of time to this class, you may struggle. Everybody's different. Everybody needs different amounts of time. But you should just know that this will be a time-intensive class. The labs will take a lot of work. Lecture, you don't want to fall behind on. So be warned of our time. Okay, couple additional things. First off, and this is in the syllabus, but I just want to say, if you have DSPS accommodations, please email not just in general, email me your accommodations as soon as possible. If you qualify for accommodations, I want to make sure that those are met. But I need to know in advance. And we have our first exam dropping on Friday, right? So please, if you have accommodations, let me know. I can program your accommodations into what's that thing called? Into Canvas. So I can totally work with you. You don't need to go without, but I do need to know what they are so that I can meet those accommodations. So please get those to me ASAP. Okay. There's that. Something that you should be aware of if you find that you are struggling in this course. The FLC Tutoring Center has been awesome. They have moved their entire operation online. It's free. It's available. There are time slots right now. Book them. Reach out for help. Also, don't forget that you have me. I'm in your corner. I want you to do well, and I want to make sure that you're understanding what's going on. And, I have 6 office hours a week. So we'll have time to get into it, to discuss it together. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, reach out to the tutors, and obviously your peers. Your peers are some of the greatest resource that you have. So I know over summer there were a few students who made a Discord, and so they were like constantly they were like they would Discord while I was live streaming office hours. So they'd be like going around in the back, and then someone would pop up and be like, "Okay, we need help with this," and then so there's multiple layers of online education, or multiple layers of education available to you. So definitely take advantage. One person asked me if I wanted to join the Discord, and I said no, just because I also think that it's good for students to have kind of a safe space where you can complain about me. And not have to worry about me hearing about it. So I think that's a good thing. All right, we have one last piece of business. Well, a couple, but one last main piece of business, and that is academic honesty. All right. Yeah, totally. I know there were at least one, but there may have been like 2 or 3 different Discord chats going on over the summer that students were using. So here's the deal with academic honesty. It is as simple, just as it always has been. That there's no cheating. All right, all work must be your own. So it's there, and it's as rigid as ever. Now, this is an area where we're still evolving as instructors and as a community, and there were a few different academic dishonesty problems over the summer, and part of it's impossible to control in an online teaching format because we're not all in a room, right? If it were a normal class, we roll in and given an exam, and so close the door, everybody puts their phones away, you take the test, and that's it. But we did have some problems over the summer with materials being leaked and compromised, and as a result, it is a course policy, and everybody should know this up front, that all exams are locked. What does that mean? All exams are locked. That means that you will not be able to see your test results. You'll be able to know your score, but you will not be able to look specifically and see the answers to specific problems, or see what you got wrong, what you got right. And this totally sucks. This totally blows. For every honest student who would use your exams as a learning opportunity. It's unfortunate that we have to adopt it, but with the problems that we were seeing crop up over the summer, it's just got to be this way. So there are other ways for you to get feedback in this course, but the exams will not be one of them. The exams will tell you how you're doing, but they will not be there as a resource for you to study. Yeah, totally. And a lot of students were upset with this, understandably. But it's just the world that we live in, and it's the circumstance that we're in. So that's one huge downside. There is another upside to the to this online education thing that we're in. All right. So take-home exams happened right before COVID. And I remember being a student, and the thing that I hated more than anything, I personally hated take-home exams, because I felt like the take-home exams were just, professors would be like, oh, you had a week to do it, so I can make it as hard as I want to. As a student, I would rather just sit down 80 minutes and have the thing be done. But the one thing I hated more than take-home exams were take-home exams where the instructor was like, and on the take-home exam, you can't look anything up on the internet, you can't look at your textbook, you can't talk to other people. And I hated that as a student, because I'm like, I knew that 80% of the class was doing that anyway. And so you felt this huge tension. Like, do I do what everyone else is doing, or do I do the morally right thing, but then I'm at a disadvantage, and all that stuff. So when it comes to the exams, so in this class, all assignments or actually, I'm gonna just open a new page. So all assignments are open everything. Not everything. Hang on. All assignments are open everything. They are open book, open internet, open other humans. All right. Collaboration is expected and encouraged. You can totally work in groups. Do your own work, and copying is not hard to catch, especially when it comes to lab reports. I'll spend more time talking about that during lab section. But collaboration is expected and encouraged in this class. I'm not going to say, oh, you can't use the book, because people still can. I can't control that. These are not webcam exams, so they're not webcam proctored. You can take them when you want, as you want. Doesn't matter. And you can use any resource you want. Now, that being said, this is a little bit deceptive. These exams will be timed, and there are some things that if you are taking the time during the test to look them up, you're going to be losing time, and you may not be able to finish the exam. So as we move through the semester and we talk about different concepts, I will let you know, like, hey, here's one of those things that I would recommend you memorizing them. I recommend you memorizing them, because this is just one of those things that you just need to know off the top of your head. You can look it up, but if you have to waste time looking it up, that's less time you'll have to solve another problem. So that's my policy on use of the internet, books, whatever. I actually encourage my students to, before taking a test, to make themselves a cheat sheet, like making a sheet of paper, write down all the equations that you think you'll need, write down any information that'll be helpful. That way you don't have to be wasting time flipping through your book. You've got it on your sheet right there, and that can help you. Okay, I've got some comments to catch up on. Let's see. Okay, whole mess of questions. All of these useful. I guess starting from the bottom. Yes, the final is cumulative. In a sense, every exam in this class is cumulative. For example, you'll be doing stuff with sig figs on the first exam this Friday, and you'll be doing sig figs for the rest of the semester. So, that being said, there are some topics that'll be part of the class and then we move on from them, but there are some concepts that are just universally applicable. So in a sense, every exam is comprehensive in this class, especially the final. So when it comes to Jared, your question about practice exams. I do not provide practice exams. I will be assigning practice problems out of the book. There will be homework to do throughout the semester. I don't provide a practice test, but what I do, and I mentioned this earlier, and I'll be posting it shortly for the Pre-req Exam. But what I do is ahead of the test, opening up, I'll post an announcement to Canvas that kind of gives you the details about the exam. So it'll tell you the concepts, the points breakdown, all the specific things that made it onto the test, how long it is, how many problems, etc. So you'll kind of know what to study. And then as far as after you take a test, if you're wondering like if you have specific questions, like, okay, I was really struggling with, I feel like on the pre-req exam, for example, if you had a rough time understanding sig figs or knowing when to apply them in unit conversions, you can bring it up to me there. Or if we're hanging in office hours, you're like, hey, could you check the test to see like where things have like what would be good for me to review. I can totally provide pointers like that. Totally. Oh, really? Gotcha. Okay, so so it looks like Professor Chang hasn't published her Canvas website. I'm wondering if she is synchronous or asynchronous. Let's see. Yeah, so I for those of you who are in Dr. Chang's lab section, I just looked up her class and it's listed as asynchronous, which means that there's not a set scheduled time, published time where you have to attend. You can watch her class at your convenience. I don't know when she's choosing to stream, but let me write myself a note and I will ask her. Let me just write a note so I don't forget. Okay. All right, let's see. We are almost done. We've almost made it through the syllabus. Okay. So it talks about all that stuff. Okay. The last thing that I want to mention is I feel like, well, it's not that I feel like, I've been told by former students I've been told by former students, Karen, at this moment in time, I don't, all of us are full, but we will, we're also, what was it? The syllabus quiz closes on Wednesday. That might open up some spots. And then the pre-req exam closes on a week from Wednesday. And often when people see kind of the level of the pre-req exam, it usually leads to some people dropping. So you will be, and the other thing, Karen, is I'm coordinating with the lab instructors. So processing who gets dropped, who gets added, is something that I'm helping them with. So it's not 100% riding on Dr. Chang, even if she never saw your email or gets it back, or gets back to you. I'll let her know, because I have all the rosters, all the wait lists, and so I'll know who's getting dropped and how much space we have to add. So and my lab section right now is full as well. So we'll see how it goes. All right, the last thing I want to say before we go, and then we'll call this a wrap, is I have been told by students that I tend to lull people who've never had me before. into a false sense of security because I give off super chill vibes, right? I had a student tell me that he was like, he told me this after the semester, but he told me, he was like, dude, you rolled in the first day of class, and you walked through the syllabus, and you're like talking, and he was like, he said, this is awesome. My chem professor is the turtle from Finding Nemo. This is going to be a chill semester. And he said, and then your first exam kicked me in the gut. I was totally not expecting it because you're such a chill dude. I thought your exams would be chill. And I think that's fairly accurate. And I want everybody to know kind of up front that I do give off kind of like a low-key energy. I tend to be pretty easygoing. My exams skew to the harder side of things. So don't be surprised. I mean, you're going to get a sample of that when the pre-req exam opens on Friday, but it's also based on prerequisites. So it should be easy for us. It often isn't. Usually with it, I started doing this about when did I first start giving the pre-req exam? About 3 years ago, I started, and I don't write it to be hard, but usually the pre-req exams average is about 50%. And so, because it's an indication, not everybody's equally prepared, but I want you to know, like, I'm here, I am chill, I want to be encouraging, I want to be helpful, but that doesn't mean that on the exam side of things that it's going to be as soft as I am. Yes, Ludwig, sorry, just saw your comment. I'm going to be doing a couple of lab lectures to review, not algebra, I'm assuming we all got that, but I will be explicitly reviewing sig figs and unit conversions. I think starting Wednesday. We still have lab tonight, but Wednesday and then the next Monday are when the 2 lab lectures are scheduled. The other thing that I wanted to point out is for those of you coming from 305, there's a different level of rigor that is in Chem 400. So, for example, my Chem 305 final, my Chem 305 final had, I think, I don't remember exactly. It was like 35, maybe 40 questions, and the class had about 2 hours to take that test. In Chem 400, we typically give the ACS standardized exam, which we can't do that online because it's a sealed exam. It can't be compromised. But I write an exam that's of similar caliber, and the ACS exam has the same amount of time, 2 hours, but there are 70 questions. So if you're coming out of Chem 305, the Chem 305 final is the same amount of time as the Chem 400 final, but the difference is there are like double the problems in Chem 400. So I'm not trying to be scary, I'm not trying to be mean, but I am trying to give you realistic expectations that coming out of Chem 305, this is going to be a step above. I know I might seem chill, but the exams are usually challenging. So don't be surprised when all that goes down. Let's see, we got a couple questions. Later today. Well, the live later today. Richard. Okay, so Richard, great question. Does the pre-req exam include concepts from previous chem courses? I kind of went back and forth on this, and where I landed is I kind of sat down and I thought, what's the bare minimum, the stuff that like you should just know, and I kind of came down to unit conversions, sig figs, algebra. All right, so that is what the pre-req exam tests for. So you won't be doing any stoichiometry on this. You won't be calculating any molecular weights. I'm gonna be teaching that as we move through this course, so there will be some review, but the stuff on the pre-req exam, and I'll post a little more info to Canvas, but that is just the stuff that like you just need to know to succeed. BMP draws. Lab later today will be you're sorry, I'm just now understanding your question. I apologize for being slow. When we do the lecture on sig figs and what's that other thing, unit conversions, I will be going through kind of it's going to be a review, so it's going to be designed to teach if you're rusty at all on sig figs, but it's not going to be like testing. I will totally do problems in there if you guys want to see them. That will be like the level of problem that you could see on the pre-req exam. Okay, so let's see. Oh yes, that is something worth mentioning. So everything is digital, right? In a world where everything is digital and you're having to submit things as in PDFs, the best favor you could do yourself is download Adobe Scan. To your phone. If you have a tablet with stylus like I do, you could just download the PDF, write on it, send it back. If you don't, this app, I don't mean to sound too much like a TED Talk, but this app is life-changing. I have a scanner and I hate using it because it's a pain in the butt and the drivers are always out of date and blah, 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 blah. Adobe Scan takes your phone and your flashlight on the back of your phone, you like hover it above the paper, and it takes this picture, but it formats it where it looks like a high-quality scan. It is free. It is totally free to use. There's no like free for 30 days or free for your first 5 scans and then you have to watch ads. It's just straight up free. You can download from the iOS App Store, the Google Play Store, whatever your store is of choice. It's awesome. And so you can, for example, with the Syllabus Quiz, print it up, fill it out by hand, use the Adobe Scan app, submit it to Canvas. If you're unaware of it or of scanning apps, this one's amazing. There are other ones out there. You don't have to use this one, but that is a great place to start. Yeah. So if you are enrolled in the class, there is a slot, an assignment slot in Canvas for you to upload. If you are not and you're waitlisted, then email it directed to me. If you're enrolled in the class and don't submit it through Canvas, it's not going to count and you'll get dropped. So if you're enrolled in the class, do Canvas. If not, email. Yeah, totally. Exactly. There's several of these apps out there, but the point is you can convert. You don't have to like take cruddy little pictures with your phone anymore. You can convert a handwritten piece of paper into a high quality scan. It's an amazing time we live in. I will never use my scanner again because now I have my phone. Richard, actually, great question. As far as homework goes, there will be kind of two different homework realities. One will be there will be homework in Canvas which is our points associated with. That will be graded. There is homework from the book that is just there for your practice. And I will be posting that. I haven't posted it yet, but the problems from the textbook are just there for you to get extra reps in. Oh yeah, Stephanie, you can totally go. We're done anyway. I'm just kind of answering extra questions. Oh well, there are two Gilly's lab sections today. Because one is for the one associated with my lecture, and the other is Max's, my foster adopt lecture. So she has one in the morning, which I think is mine, and then the one in the afternoon is Max's. So it depends upon which one you're enrolled in. So there's that. One thing I do want to say about the Canvas homework is the Canvas homework is going to be I always want to be careful when I do relative qualifiers, but it's going to be on the easy-ish side of things. The homework that I post to Canvas is going to be like the bare minimum, as like kind of here's an introduction, here's a way of getting into it, but they're not going to be like hardcore exam type problems. The reason for this is I want the Canvas homework to kind of be like easy points to reward you for doing the bare minimum of studying, but you definitely want to evolve beyond those problems, and don't think that like, oh, because the Canvas homework was easy, therefore I'm ready for the exam. It's to kind of jumpstart you, to get you, to reward you for getting on the studying train, but don't jump off once the set is done. So that's something I want to say about that. And then finally, the last thing is every lecture you can check out a new mixtape. I will be posting the link in the description. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're random. They're all over the map. But I post them. They're on Spotify, publicly posted, and you can find the link in the description. And so today, if you're wondering what kind of vibes am I in, starting a new semester, all that stuff, it is succinctly articulated in 3 songs. So, all right, I think I'm going to call that a day. We went like 5 minutes over. I will be back here I'll be back here at 7 to 10. We'll hang out tonight. I'm not going to start the what's that thing called? The SigFig review. I'm going to give the mini lecture for that, starting on mini lecture SigFigs on Wednesday, mini lecture in the lab section on unit conversions the following Monday, so a week from today. So come hang out, or don't. You can watch it later. I'm going to timestamp all my videos, so it'll be easy for you to find each subject covered. And yeah, it's been a good first day. Thank you everyone for showing up. It's been awesome to see all your bright and shining faces and or avatars. I will catch some of you later tonight. The rest of you hopefully on Wednesday. Oh, Stephanie, that is a great question. There are actually 3 songs of the day. You can find them on the daily mixtape. One by Hamilton Leithauser, one by the Yayas, and a third by the Black Keys. So, oops. Oops. Totally. This one is just I threw them together. It's smoky. It's kind of hazy, and that's what the 3 songs in 10 minutes of this mixtape were to me. So give them a listen. I'll catch you guys all in a